Good afternoon, everybody. We are here with Ashley and Jamie from The Call. And if y'all are out there like I am, I've heard of The Call since I've lived here, but I never really knew what it was about. So I'm pretty excited about having y'all in here. And I'm going to turn it over, let them introduce themselves.
Don't be shy.
And we'll get into it. How are you, ladies?
We're doing well.
Good.
Doing well.
Jamie, Ashley.
Yep, I'm Jamie Wilson. I'm the affiliate director with The Call in Cleveland County, and just happy to be here.
Yay.
I'm Ashley Herring. I am a former foster mom and then an adopted mom. I've adopted 3 kids out of the foster care system.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you
And I'm a new
initially
realtor.
and a new realtor. That's right. So you initially started out as a foster mom.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it turned into
But all with different stories, and it's very interesting that of the kids that we were foster parents for about close to 9 years, and none of those children, well, the first one, okay, but basically all the children that we had in our home went back to their families. So how we adopted was a different route we can talk about.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we're just gonna kick it off and get knee deep in it. Are most of the kids local or within the state? How does that work?
Well, The Call is a statewide organization, and so each county has its own affiliate. And so, like, I'm the affiliate director for Cleveland County, and each county has its own person who's kind of head over that county. And just recently, within the past 2 years, The Call has expanded to all 75 counties in Arkansas. And so we cover Arkansas. And so that was a huge goal when we started 16 years ago in Pulaski County. And it just kind of grew from that one county. And it just kind of, the Lord blessed it and it just grew. And now we're covering all of Arkansas.
That's awesome. So for people like myself that's never really studied it, looked into it, what is the difference between fostering and adopting?
You want to take it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, let me go back to The Call. What makes it so special is that the goal is to keep kids from your own county from having to go to a different county. So we go to churches and recruit families from churches because we want Christian homes, and then we want those children to be able to stay in their county. They can continue to have their friendships, their teachers, any support that they have. And then also the visitation with their family is easier if they're, now that doesn't always happen, but that is a goal.
Yeah.
So,
and when we talk about keeping kids in their county, it is so important for a myriad of reasons. And, when we talk about that big ugly word trauma and, all the things that kids go through, we want to reduce the amount of changes that they are having to experience because if they're being removed from their home, there's already a traumatic event that has happened, whether it be abuse, neglect, or poverty, or something is happening there that caused that removal to happen. And so that in and of itself is a traumatic or an adverse childhood experience. That's a traumatic event in and of itself. And then being put into a stranger's home is going to be another traumatic experience. Well, you add on to that changing schools and teachers and friends and just riding down the road and the roads being familiar, the restaurants being familiar, knowing that, okay, I'm on my way to Walmart because I know this place. And going from somewhere like that to somewhere that everything is new and everything is strange and everything is scary just increases the trauma that child is going to have to recover from. And so that's why we're so adamant on let's keep kids local and let's keep them in their homes and their schools with their friends and with as much consistency as possible. Because it's really important for the healing process.
imagine a kid coming into your home. I mean, things that we just take for granted, like, I ran out of toilet paper. Where's the toilet paper? Like, they know nothing. They come into your home and, like, you have a whole set of rules that you don't have to even speak. Your kids just know. Your family just knows.
Right.
This is how we do this.
It's a routine.
Well, it's completely foreign. Where are the glasses? Where are the, like, everything to them is a stress at first. And so when they first come in, I mean, just, they tend to have their behaviors are a little more at first because they're just stressed out. They don't know
yeah.
where anything is. And then after a couple weeks, they really start falling in line because they've kind of caught on to the routine of your family. And they really do kind of just do what the family does, but just being mindful of that and understanding that perspective. Because I always put the perspective of like, if my kids were separated from their siblings, because a lot of times when they come into care, like if my home couldn't hold all the sibling set, then they have to go into different homes. And that always just hurt my heart so much because my siblings would be devastated if they were separated that way.
Oh, yeah.
And many times you have older siblings who are used to taking care of the younger siblings.
And like
so
their parent.
Is gone, and so, they rely very heavily on each other. And so when they're separated, it can be a really big deal.
Yeah.
So is that something that can be harder or a bigger difficulty? Say there's 2 siblings or 3, getting them into the same home.
Yes.
Most of the time it's just impossible if there's a big group like that. But
Yeah, I know.
it can happen.
Like last year, we took in, I think, 3 different sibling sets of 5. Very rarely are you going to have a foster home or anywhere that can take 5 kids.
And it's nice if they're in the same county, then
Yeah.
that they can meet at the park. They can meet.
They can
you know what I mean?
yeah.
They can still see them at school, stuff like that. So that helps. And you asked about the difference in being a foster parent versus an adoptive parent. I mean, the goal is to get in foster parenting, in foster care, is to reunite them with their family, for their family to get the tools that they need during that time, the help that they need, whatever it is, and then they'll become a family again, right? I mean, that's the whole goal.
Sure.
So you're working with the family. You're asking the family, like, how can we? How does your child like this? Like, you're trying to partner with them in hopes that they trust you too, and kind of want to have a relationship of some sort of mentoring, if that's possible, and it can be.
And that's what the call is geared toward.
Right.
Yes. And, really, we want the entire family to heal. Yes, our priority is keeping the kids safe and getting them into safe homes, whether that be temporarily or permanently or whatever. But, the whole overreaching goal is for the family as a whole to heal. Sometimes, we have preconceived notions on whether somebody deserves to get their kids back or whatever. That's a big topic that we hear. But we have to understand that it's by case basis. A lot of times there are single moms out there that are just doing the best they can to make it from one day to the next, and they just need a little help. There's addiction that comes into play that,
It's been generational.
Yes. And, I'm blessed enough to not have that particular vice in my life. But if I had, I'm just one decision away from that.
Right.
Really.
Sure.
And we're all just one decision away from a really hard place. And so, a lot of these parents just need some time to get the help that they need to get their feet back underneath them. We get a lot of single moms who are trying to get out of an abusive relationship. They've gotten their kids removed from their home for various reasons, and now they're just trying to get their feet back underneath them, get an apartment. Starting over is not easy. And especially when you have multiple children also that you're trying to support and feed and care for when you can barely afford to feed yourself.
Right.
And so sometimes they just need a little time, a little help, a little support. And, in those cases, we want so much to, help those parents to have all the opportunities possible to heal that family because, we feel like, God has designed, families to stick together and to be together. He doesn't allow a child to be born to somebody with the expectations that they're going to be taken away and put into another family. That's just not natural. That's just not natural. And so, if that's what needs to happen in order to give that child hope and a future and all of the things, because mom and dad's choices just are too much, then, so be it. But we want to give every opportunity for that family to be whole and healthy again as much as possible.
So how does it go? And I'm sure this is just a wide question, but how does it go from a child in foster care and whatever that leads up to, okay, now this child's up for adoption?
That would be the parental rights would have to be terminated. Normally, that takes some time because the court system is going to give them every single opportunity possible to get it right. They're going to have a list of things that they have to meet, whether that be clean drug tests, get a job, get an apartment, whatever it is that they need to do.
They'll help them.
Yep, and they'll help them to meet those goals. And so they're going to have every single opportunity possible in order to meet the requirements in order for their kids to return.
And one of the hardest rights to take away is the right to be a parent, to parent your own child. So it's not an easy, it has gone on 9 months, a year past, they've been given that long. And if they show even, this is my experience, if they showed even a hint of progress, even if it was tiny, it would be extended before their rights would be terminated. That's the last thing they want to do.
Yeah.
That's not what the people think, but it really is actually hard for them to remove a child from us.
It is.
Permanently.
Yes.
Okay.
And, if the parents don't meet the requirements after a very extended amount of time, their parental rights can be terminated, or the parent can choose to terminate the rights and give up their rights.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the case of the first daughter that we adopted. So she was 10 when she moved in, and her parents gave up their rights. And so that became an opportunity for us to adopt her. And let me tell you, she had seen a lot. So older children are more difficult to place. So, it's pretty much if you can find a home that's willing and desires to do that, it was an easier route. It's totally different than me wanting a baby.
Yeah.
And I already had children. My goal was not, I want more children. It was,
Right.
So that really, for me, I know sometimes people do get into that thinking that this is a route. It's more challenging. It's very unlikely you're going to get a baby.
Right. And we have to explain that a lot. Some people come in like, I want to adopt a baby. And, there's lots of misconceptions with that. Like, I want to
Too much
adopt
TV.
Yeah. Yeah. And, they think, okay, well, if I get an infant, then I won't have the trauma and I won't have this and I won't have this problem and that problem. And, I won't have to deal with the bio parents and all of this stuff. And so there's a lot of preconceived notions that, a baby is just going to be an easier route to take if I am interested in adoption. And that's not the case. Children experience trauma in the womb. They're getting that cortisol from mom when mom is stressed out because of XYZ. Oftentimes there's drugs involved and, they are born already addicted to whatever mom was taking. And so all of that affects our brain development. It affects our, how we regulate our emotions and all of these things. And so adopting a baby is not a way to get around the ugly parts of a child not being with their bio parents. And I don't think a lot of people realize that and think about that. Also, it's very, very difficult. I'm not going to say virtually impossible, but it's very difficult to find a newborn that already has their parental rights terminated. Like we mentioned earlier, it usually is a long, drawn-out process to allow the parents to have every opportunity possible to do what they need to do in order to get their kids back. So you're talking 2 years of court back and forth. Mom needing to do this, dad needing to do that.
Possibly even going home.
Grandma coming up and saying maybe, hey, I'll take him, but grandma's not a
that in
viable
itself
option.
seems like it can make it really stressful if
Yes.
you do get lucky. I say get lucky. If you're one of those
Right.
people that want a baby and you get one, well, now you have that back and forth process for
Right.
possibly more years than you would if you'd went with a 5-year-old.
Right.
Is the way it's sounding anyway.
Yes. Kids who are available for adoption are very rarely under 2 years old because it's going to take at least 2 years in order to go through the court process. And so really about the only way to get an infant is either mom went into the hospital and had no intention of keeping the baby to begin with, or international adoptions, or there are certain private agencies you can go through who specialize in that kind of thing. And so that's really kind of where we lead people when that's, their heart's desire is they want an infant, then we give them the tools in order to contact the proper people for that.
Yeah, your expectation should really be, I want to provide a safe home for these children. Like on our last two, they were
Stability.
siblings, because I said the sibling thing always bothered me when they were in foster care, how they would be split up. So we wanted to adopt a sibling set that we could keep together. Even though they were a part of 4, the other 2 had already been adopted out. So these 2 were still together. And they were almost 6 and 7 the day after they moved in. So they were still older. But there's another opportunity of doing that. It's called Project Zero, which is kind of a sister partnership along with, but they're the ones these are children that parents' rights have already been terminated, and they're more difficult to place because they're either older, they're sibling sets, or, they have
Medical.
And
mental or
what is
physical.
kind of the age? I mean, is there,
Those are typically older.
well, I mean, just in general,
In general.
for the call for the foster side of things,
For being foster
Yeah.
children. That's birth to
Anywhere.
18.
18.
Well, that kind of goes in line with one of the questions that we just got. What is the process of becoming a foster parent in Arkansas?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Contact me. Call me. No, there's some paperwork that is involved. We have, you have to pass a background check, all of that. And there is a kind of like I usually say a 9-step process to go through it. At the call, kind of one of the things that we really try and do is to make sure that process goes step by step and that it's not so overwhelming. You're not just handed a huge sheet of paperwork and say, here you go.
Like,
good
never
luck.
mind.
Yeah. So we walk you through step by step. And so there are background checks. There are in-home consultations where, a DCFS worker will come in and just kind of like let you know, hey, we need to put this medication up, or, you need a fire extinguisher here, that kind of thing. And just kind of tell you how to prepare your home in a way that's going to be safe for kids to come in, because, they want to make sure that they don't have any problems or liabilities there, And so, just things like that. And it's not, it's not a super scary process. Sometimes it's scary to think somebody's going to come in my home and critique everything. It's not like that. They're just there to make sure that it's safe. Like if you have a pool, that there's not just free access to that,
Right.
and certain things. And so, to become a foster parent, there are just a few requirements. Like you need about 50 square feet per child, like in a bedroom. So an average size bedroom would hold 2 kids.
Yeah. So if you think a 10 by 10 room,
Right.
then half of that is what they need to actually have a bed and a nightstand.
Right.
And then access to the closets. So it's really not that much.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot less than people think.
Yeah. And a lot of people say, well, I'm too old to become a foster parent, and they're like 50, 60 years. And I'm like, well, not really. It's just a matter of being healthy, because, we certainly don't want you bringing kids in to take care of you. We want you taking care of the kids,
Right.
that kind of thing. And so, you have to pass a physical exam just to make sure you're healthy enough to care for children that come into your
CPR.
home. CPR certification. The call helps take care of that. We provide the training classes and we'll help with the cost of that as well. And we also have some trauma training that we need all foster parents to go through. And it's just mainly to prepare you for caring for kids from hard places. They have specialized
Just
needs.
a little bit different than
It is a
your
little
normal
different.
parenting.
Yeah. And, if you
We can
think
get into that.
in terms of, in terms of discipline, even, if you, for example, have a child who's used to being hit, well, spankings are not going to have the same effect. It's not a disciplinary issue. They're used to being, yes. And, it's not going to be the most effective form of discipline. And that's, so we steer away from that. And so, just certain things that you need to be aware of when you are bringing in kids into your home, what they may have dealt with, and just different strategies on helping them and you to regulate.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't help a
First thing
dysregulated
you need
child.
to learn yourself is
Yes.
how to regulate your own emotions.
Yes, you can't help a dysregulated child if you're also dysregulated.
Well, and that was going to be my question for that is, okay, so like in the situation for that child that, you know, they're used to being, I don't want to say beat on, but being hit on a regular and whatnot. And you're going to place them with Ashley. So would there be like some counseling for both parties to be able to
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
you know, deal with, you know, a situation like that? So it kind of be like a case by case
Absolutely.
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, kids are taken into care for a myriad of reasons. And so each case is different. Each situation is different. Every bio parent's situation is different. And so, you know, you just have to take that into account for everything.
So our next question is, tell us something that we can do as outsiders to help and support the call.
Okay. We're always needing volunteers. We're a nonprofit organization. And so, you know, any money that comes in goes right back out for the cause. And so we run mostly on volunteer labor. And so we need hands and feet. We need people involved in the ministry. And once you get involved, you can, I think, you know, people often get involved just to, you know, because this is a great cause. But then they start to see the ministry that's within it. And really, it touches their heart. It touches their mind.
It's not as
you know,
scary.
Yes, it's not as scary. And they realize that, oh, this need is super important. And so often our volunteers come in and they're just super blessed at the stories that they hear, the cases that they see. Yes, foster care is hard. And yes, adoption is hard. And there's a lot of, you know, hard topics surrounding that. But in the hard is where you see God move. And that's where you see the miracles happen. And that's where you see, that's where your testimony comes from, is in the hard places. You're not going to get a testimony in the sunshine and the, you know, the puppy dog tails and the daisies. That's not where that happens. And so just being able to see kind of that phoenix rising and being able to see those times in among all of the ugly business that is kind of like where foster care comes from. It's not a pretty place, but
I can give you some tangible ways that we've been blessed when we were foster parents, and even still. One of the ways is we have what's a call mall. And so when we would get children into care, there was basically a room that's just full of clothes, shoes, diapers,
personal care products.
products, basically
Call
high chair.
mall.
Yes, a call
Okay.
mall. That's what we called it. And basically,
said
it was
that
like
and I
a
was
shopping.
like,
You know, I could go in and say, okay, I have a baby now, so I'm going to need this, 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 and this. I'm not going out and buying it myself. I'm using it, and then, you know, I can return it when that child leaves and come back and get, hey, I need a twin size bed. You know, there's that kind of thing. People are eager to help meet those needs because those are tangible things. Another thing was we have a freezer at the call that has ready-made meals. So churches will supply them with frozen meals. So, you know, there were plenty of days when it was just like, oh my gosh, we've been in court, we've done this, we've had family visitations. Like, I'm going to go by and grab a meal and take it home. There's so many ways like that.
Don't have to worry
people,
about dinner.
you know,
Wow.
sometimes will just like bring you a dinner. And I always joke about this, but this is so true. Like some of my most stressful times, if somebody brought me dinner, I literally wanted to sit on their lap and have them rock me. I was so like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I needed the support to be able to support and pour out for what I was doing at home.
Our goal is to, you know, support families to the point to where they can just focus on the kids, because that's the whole point, right? But if we can, you know, take dinner,
Foster family support.
Yes. and have people who are wrapping around you, have your church understand what you're going through to the point to where they can wrap around you and support you. We have so many families who stop going to church because it's just too hard to get kids there, and then once they're there, they're being
they
pulled
might act
out.
up, or they might whatever, and you want
just
your
like,
church
forget
to
it.
understand what you're doing and give the grace.
Yes.
Sure.
And,
You know,
and be able
realize
to
that you're
understand.
trying. And if somebody says, "Well, if I had them in my home, I would do it," well, no, you wouldn't,
No, you wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
because
not,
it's not quite like that.
yeah, and like you said, it's not like your everyday parenting with your child that you've had from birth. You know, you're taking in a kid that has been through something,
Right.
something that we can't imagine.
Right.
So, yeah, completely different. But to kind of go back to when you say hands and feet, you need volunteers. What does that entail?
Right. We have.
Well, I was going to also ask in that the call mall situation. Is that just one location per county, or is that?
Go ahead.
no, some
We've tried,
Yeah, we've
and
tried
had it in
doing-
multiple places, but it just tends to work better having the central location.
And I'm assuming that's the other side of the lake.
Right.
Yes.
We
The
have
Heber side?
Yes.
the call ministry
Yeah, the
house
support center.
support center, and so it's like in the basement of that.
Okay.
And we've tried bringing one to this side of the lake because Cleburne County is so unique in that, we're almost multiple counties because we got the lakes.
Yeah, I mean,
smack in
it's
the middle
30
of
minutes to get
everybody.
anywhere.
Yes. And so, we have families in Primm and Drasco and Edgemont and all the places. And so, we've tried having a call mall over here and just got to where most people just came by the Heber location when they were in the area
we
anyway.
deliver.
Yeah, or we deliver. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so that's where volunteers come in. They help with things like deliveries, and we have a child care team. So when we have support groups, we have support groups regularly throughout the year for our foster and adoptive families, because it's super important to be in community with people who get it and who are going through it. And, that helps with just being able to have the mental capacity to stay open longer and to help more kids in the long run. And so we provide that, and we need childcare workers for that because we provide meals and childcare, so they get a free dinner, and the kids are handled, and they just get to fellowship with each other.
Wow.
And I think that's a huge mental
That's-
health
that's-
support.
So is it possible to have like people on a call list, or I say on a call list, where they could call, like say I'm coming to Heber,
Right.
I call. Y'all have anything that needs to come this way today?
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And those are our favorite volunteers. They're the ones that are like, hey, I'm going here. Do you need anything delivered? And that's fantastic because just a few people, it's very difficult to be everywhere at the same time. So we need hands and feet in all the different places. And so like childcare is a place where you can volunteer. Deliveries are huge. We also have a hospitality team that helps with meals and it keeps our freezer full. So it takes a little bit of everybody.
And Jamie, speak to this because this rules might have changed, but on the foster family support, I'm allowed to have 3 families. They're close to me.
Right.
They're already related to, it's somebody that I normally hang out with or whatever, that my kids would all be in contact with on a regular basis, likely go to church with me or something. And they can apply and just get a background check and a walkthrough of their home. And they're able to keep my children like for a weekend,
Yeah.
my foster children for a weekend. That's huge.
I could see that.
That is a huge help.
Yeah.
Because sometimes
Because
the best
that's
way,
one of them things, like sitting here, I mean, I didn't even think about that. What are the guidelines if you do want to take a week?
Right.
Whatever.
and it's
It's
you know,
easy
it's
to
a
do with your
good way
kids.
to get in and help, and kind of like I said about realizing, this isn't as scary as I thought it was. We can do this. We may not want to commit full time right now, but then you kind of get the idea and realize, I think for my family, it was a family ministry. Like my kids were way better at welcoming a child in and rolling with it than John and I were. They may wake up the next morning and there's somebody else sitting at the breakfast bar And I mean, they got to there like, well, hey, who are you?
But that's
You
the
know,
great thing
and-
about kids. I
welcome
mean,
to
that's
the
why,
kingdom.
Yeah,
that's
they
why the
are.
Word of God says,
And-
come to me as a child.
And a kid would come and say to them, like, where's this? That they might be intimidated to come to us. They don't know us as parents, but a child their age, so they seem to get them into the fold and into the routine. And we
Because
still
they're
to
they're
this-
they're relatable.
they're relatable.
They're
And still to
relatable.
this day, one of our favorite family things, we have a family group called the Family Snuggle, is somebody will say, oh, I wonder where so-and-so is today. And then they'll start throwing pictures. I mean, this is going back 15 years of a child that we might have had. And everybody will talk about them and the memories they have of being with them or whatever. I mean, like really funny memories. Even if the memory was a bad memory, it's funny now.
Right.
Right.
So it was really good. And you have to think of it as your children are really learning. This is a way for you to engage in ministry, and you're still in charge as much as in your home. You're still protecting, you're still, but you're getting to teach them every day. How do you treat somebody in this situation? Can you be flexible?
Yeah.
Can you, share your things? I mean,
So it's teaching you just as much as it is that your biological kids or your,
All of us.
exactly. I love those teachable moments.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people are hesitant to open their home because they're worried about what it's going to do to their biological
Exposed to
kids, and it's like they're going to be just as blessed as you are by the experience, and
There's
it's
so many
teaching them
ways.
how to
there are so many ways to protect your family in those situations. Once you get in there, like if you use discernment and there's a lot of ways of separating and just doing stuff if you feel that. And the thing about being a foster parent too, that's different than adoption is that a foster parent has an end. And if it's not working in your family, I mean, you're going to do everything because you don't want another loss for that child. You don't want to create another trauma. But if it's
Right.
really not working, they can go to a different home.
right.
You're not in that.
And another thing people don't think about is you can say no.
Yeah.
Like when you get that call from DCFS, hey, we have, a female this age, this is what's going on. If you're not in a place at the moment where, you're like, okay, I just need to take a break, or, well, we're about to go on a big vacation, or, or whatever. If life at that particular time is not conducive to taking on, you don't have to say yes to every call that comes in.
And there's
Right.
usually one person in the like John was always good. He's like, if Jesus took breaks, we can take breaks. But I was always like, there's this child and they're just waiting in the DHS office, which Department of Human Services. DCFS is Division of Children and Family Services. Oh, just throwing out acronyms. Anyway, the need's going to get met. And sometimes you feel like, you feel so desperate and you want to do it, but it is good.
And you want to do it all.
Yeah.
It is good
can
for
see
you
that.
also to take care of yourself and your kids. You can't possibly pour into someone else if you're not doing that.
And that's where prayer is so, so important. Just be in prayer about every possible placement. Let the call prayer team. Speaking of volunteers, prayer team just wrap around you and pray about it, and because God has a purpose for each of those children, and He has a purpose for you, and He knows where they're going to be best placed. And if that's you, great. If that's not, then we want to leave that door open for that child to go where they need to go in order to be with the healthiest people possible. And
Absolutely.
And I, like we had 4 daughters, the older daughters. And so like you can say what ages. I was never going to have a teen boy in my house. So like that was just like not even an option. Like you kind of see with your own family in different seasons what age you're able to take safely.
Right.
So I had a
And
friend that loved babies. I was like, no, give me a behavior elementary child any day. I do not want to.
My
get up
baby
in the
days
middle
are
of the night,
over.
Yes, every
So you kind of find what works for your family, and it's you're going to want to stretch yourself and not just be so narrow, because then that's not reality. You are there to serve, but at the same time, you kind of. Well, she's known for taking this, and she's kind of they kind of take these kids or
Right.
whatever. So it kind of works out.
I feel like we're missing something. No, I thought I did.
So
But
you've gone through the how you're going to contact your local call. So that would be in Cleburne County. Contact Jamie if you're interested in any of those things, volunteering or becoming a family, and that's the first step. So that makes it real simple.
making the
You
phone
just go
call.
there, and then you get your hand held to walk through to do all the other things. So we don't need to.
Do you mind sharing your contact
No, I don't mind at all.
on the feed?
Yeah.
Sure. Again, my name is Jamie Wilson, and you can.
Hang on, I can't type that.
Come on.
There's multiple ways to spell Jamie, so make sure you get it right.
Yeah, how do you spell it?
JAMIE,
Okay.
and then Wilson, the usual way, WILSON.
Okay.
And you can contact us at 501 539 2776. You can also email me directly at jwilson@thecallinarkansas.org, and that's all together, and it's really long. I apologize.
At
The call in Arkansas.
in Arkansas.
Thecallinarkansas.org.
Hang on, I misspelled Arkansas.
I know, it's all those A's and S's.
Arkansas.org. Okay.
It's really powerful when your church gets on board, when your preacher, when everybody this is something that God has asked us to do.
Yeah.
I mean, He wants us to take care of the widows and the orphans. And for that to be, I mean, not to get cliche, but from the womb to the tomb, it includes all of those areas. And this is one of the, being pro-life, this is a pro-life way. If we're going to say we want to be pro-life, then we have to be willing to step in these times. It just it's powerful, and you're not ever going to be alone. It is a very real need.
Yes, it is.
And if your church can get on board with that, and you have people you can call on, whether it's emotional, whether it's having the weekend support, whatever it is, it's so fun when you have children in your church family like that, because you just tangibly are we're doing it. We're actually doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing what we are supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
I can see that.
Yeah.
James 1:27 is the scripture that we always hold tight to at the call, that God calls us to take care of the widows and the orphans, and orphans these days just looks like kids in care.
Social orphan. Yeah.
And widows could also include as single moms, and it can look all different kinds of ways. So we're taking care of people who are in a vulnerable position.
Right.
And that's just what we're called to do as Christians. And if we're doing it and we're doing it right, then nobody out there should have to wonder if there's help, or if there's love, or if there's a loving God. That should never be a question.
Right. Absolutely.
I want to tell you an example from the first daughter that we adopted. She was actually in our church with another family, and she sat down. There were two girls they were both in foster care. And so I'm working as volunteering at the church in children's ministry, and I'm kind of sitting with the kids. And so I heard one of the girls say, "I love this church. I want to stay here forever." And my future daughter whipped her head around. She was 10 years old, and she said, "Nothing is forever." And I just kind of sat back, and my eyes wide open. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this child at 10 years old is without
Feels
hope."
that way.
To feel that way. And it just grabbed me. I mean, it was just no, that's not true. That's not true. There are people that will stay by you. There are, and that's not true. That's not, and that really got me.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That just completely ripped you apart. Yeah, I can see that. But to kind of go with the whole theme, the Cleburne County Board of Realtors, we every year at our realtor banquet, we do a fundraiser. Ashley gets to help me out on this. We do a fundraiser, and we sell tickets, and all the proceeds from the fundraiser goes to the call. This year we're doing a raffle for Gulf Shores beachfront condo. It's a 3-night stay, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, beach access, pools. Tickets are 1 for $5, 5 for $20. And you said you could speak on the condo.
Yes. So I've stayed at this condo for multiple years, owned by a very sweet couple in Heber Springs that have donated it. So it's a really nice place. It's got just kind of the beaches. It's really nice and private. It's not where you have like 4 or 5 layers of people. So I'm sure with the 3-day thing, if you wanted to stay longer, you could rent extend it through them.
Yeah.
But it's really nice.
Yes.
It's really nice.
And so the beauty of our fundraiser that we do for it is you do not have to be present for the drawing. And so we'll do the drawing January 31st at our banquet. And of course, on your tickets, you'll put your name and your number. But if you want to buy tickets early, you can go by Crylike office in Heber Springs and talk to either Ashley or Miss Pam Hart. And if you're on the Gross Ferry side and want tickets, you can just stop by here at the office. I have a whole row waiting for you to come by.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a great way to support the call.
absolutely. And we always have a good time selling tickets at the banquet. Delray is really good at it. Her and Carissa both. Yes. She goes to the tables.
I love it.
Carissa tries to catch them as they're walking in the door. Delray goes to the tables. I'm going to need you to open that wallet up some more.
I love it.
Yes. So that's how I came to know what the call was, not in depth, but what it was, initially. And I love that we do this every year. And it seems like each year our number keeps getting a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger.
It's such a blessing. As a nonprofit, it's so, it helps so much. Every little bit, and like I said earlier, everything that comes in goes right back out to the children and families in our community, and so it excites us to have that available to do amazing things. So
Yes.
thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
So are y'all on Facebook? Do y'all have a website?
We're on
All the things.
Facebook. You can just type in the search, the call in Cleburne County, and we'll pop up. We're also at thecallinarkansas.org/Cleburne. If you do just thecallinarkansas.org, you'll still get some information. But if you want specific county information, just put that /Cleburne at the end.
The call in Arkansas.
.org. And that would be /Cleburne. Backslash. And that should bring us up. There's also a place where you can make online donations if that's what you choose to do. There's a place with information. You can also contact us through our website or through our Facebook page. If you're interested in becoming foster family support, if you're interested in opening your home either to foster care or adoption, or if you want to learn more about ways that you can volunteer, or even better, ways to get your church involved, we'd love to hear from you, and you can just fill out that contact form, and then we'll get in touch with you.
Sweet. Well, any final words? These?
I'll say what I used to say to people: do it scared.
Yeah.
I mean, you're never going to be ready to step into being a foster parent, because, I mean, you're not even with your own kids, biological kids. I mean, you're always learning. You don't know. The more kids and the older I get, the more I realize I don't know. So same with this, just do it knowing that you're stepping into something that God is really concerned about and really wants, and that He will give you the guidance.
Well, to go with that, I always say, if you're doing something big and major like that and you're not scared, don't do it, because it's not right.
Right. Yeah.
It's not right. So I love that.
Do it scared.
Do it scared.
You're never going to have enough money. You know what I mean? Like,
You're never going to have enough
Yeah,
time.
never have enough time.
Yeah.
So just do it.
I love that.
I know that when you do it, you've got a church and a organization behind you, and we're here to back you up. You're not doing it alone.
You've got a whole support system.
Yeah, you're not jumping into an empty pool with no life preserver. We're gonna be there to help you.
Are there partner churches all around
Yes.
the county at this moment?
Yes, there are. And
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever wants a speaker, somebody will come and talk to the congregation or meet with the pastor. Like all those things are available.
Yep.
Encouraged.
And if you're thinking about stepping in and opening your home to foster care, and your church is not currently involved, then that's our perfect open door. And like we talk to your pastor and say, okay, this family is doing this thing, and we know that this is a God ordained thing, that God tells us to do this in Scripture. As a pastor, they know that. And these are some ways that your church can now wrap around this family, and so we will help your church to know how to spiritually support you, how to physically support you, how to be there through every little thing, and how to welcome in these kids alongside you, because they're not just being brought into a family, they're being brought into a church family as well. And so, that's huge, and that's a huge responsibility for the church. And so we'll get them involved as well. So even if your church isn't currently involved, we'll get them there.
We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
And it will change you. It will change you as a person, as a family.
Oh, I don't see how it couldn't.
It will. There'll be things that come up that you're like, I didn't even know that was inside of me. So let's deal with that. But in a good way.
Sure.
In
Yeah.
a good way.
Well, that's awesome, Miss Chris. It's nice to know that there is something. Like I say, we've been here since 06. And I've heard about the call pretty much since like 08.
Yeah.
But I've never had a conversation with anybody that knew anything about it. So
Or watch out then.
it felt really good just sitting here, just sitting and listening.
Well, that's why I got so excited when Carissa brought it up. And I'm sure she looked at me like I was growing a second head or something, because she was saying it. And I was like, Carissa, that is the best idea ever. to get on the show and talk about the call. And because he and I done a show last week, and we wouldn't just tell him who was going to be on this week, but we were kind of like alluding to it. And I was like, seriously, I don't think there's a lot of people in Cleburne County that does not know that this is in Cleburne County.
Right.
And that's true for a lot of things. That's what
It
we've
is.
learned. I mean,
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
Doing this, it's as small as we are, both sides of the lake,
Yeah.
at how much stuff goes on that's
We have
here
no idea.
that
Right.
most of the people don't know anything about.
Agreed.
It's kind
So
of cool.
I will say I appreciate the both of y'all, even though we kind of put her on the spot. But I appreciate you both coming on and talking and kind of going more in depth with it, and you speaking on, your experience foster and adopting. So I can't thank you both enough
And
for the
it-
for taking time out of
information.
y'all's day.
Yeah, thank you for having us. This
Yeah.
is amazing. This is a great way to, just answer those questions. And if there are any questions we didn't answer today, we're a phone call, email, message away. There's a million different ways to get in touch with us. Just send us your questions. We're here for you.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Thanks, lady.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
If y'all are good, we'll let y'all get back to your rat killing. Thanks, everybody. Thank y'all
Bye.
for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.